Touken Ranbu Online has finally made it to the West. For those unfamiliar with the series' plot, the year is 2205. An army of monsters is trying to alter Japanese history by killing important historical figures, causing the famous butterfly effect. You are sent in as a Sanwa, and by reviving the spirits of famous Japanese swords, your job is to prevent history from being altered. And these swords just so happen to be handsome guys. Touken Ranbu can either be played from Jurin's website directly from your browser. Yeah, that's right, this game can be played from a browser or from an Android device. Sadly, iPhone users are essentially left out because you can only obtain the file to download the mobile version from the web store. Apple doesn't really do well with sideloading apps. I suggest you keep your expectations within reason when it comes to graphics and the UI due to the game's HTML5 nature. In the sortie, you dispatch your swords to different time periods of Japan's history and defeat enemies. During battles, a key element of formation comes into play. Depending on how the enemies formed, your formation can be the do or die element of the battle. A bad formation might result in enemies dealing more damage to your swords than usual, and in the game, HP is a stat that you have to pay attention to very carefully. You see, if a sword's HP gets to 0, they are destroyed permanently. That shiny sword is no more. If that sounds familiar to Fire Emblem's classic mode, then yes, that's the same idea, except resetting a mission to try again isn't a thing you can do. The only way to ensure that the sword does not get destroyed is to equip them with a charm that will prevent their HP from reaching 0, or by constantly making sure to repair them after the sortie so their HP doesn't deplete. You'll run into some forks along the path, which are randomly decided. Yeah, that means you might have to play the same stage again and again to get everything in it. You can also send your swords to survey the areas, which will net you some precious resources. Later, the game introduces the Forge, where you can obtain new allies that are forged from the blacksmith, basically the game's gacha. Some might say, but it's not a gacha, but anything that involves luck is a gacha no matter how you slice it. There are 4 different resources: charcoal, steel, coolant, and whetstone. You allocate an additional amount for each of the 4, and then the forging process takes place. The process can take anywhere from 30 minutes to even 6 hours, however longer times might mean rarer swords. You can also use Fudu tickets to increase your chances of a rare sword being forged, and helper tickets to finish the forging process instantly. One thing to note, however, this game does not disclose at all the percentage rates for each sword. Unless you go in full trial and error, it isn't straightforward for you to know just how much you need to allocate for a specific sword. To make matters worse, there's a particular amount of resources you can spend on each sword type. I ended up researching recipes from a fan page containing common allotments for each resource to try and get some rare swords. This is because once you run out of request tickets, that's it. You can either buy some more from the shop or begin grinding for more on sorties. There's also a repair station where you can leave 2 of your swords to restore their HP. Swords and repairs cannot be dispatched in the sorties and cannot complete tasks. The rarer the sword, the longer it takes to repair it. The shop is where you'll make most of your in-app purchases. To do this, you'll need credits, and the only way to get said credits is to buy them through Jurin's website. While there are many resources you can buy, they are all pretty expensive, ranging from 300 credits to even 9,800 credits, which is approximately $3 to $98. Unless you grind resources in the sorties, you'll be looking at a lack of them pretty quickly. Touken Ranbu Online is a decent game, but it doesn't offer much in the way of unique elements that set it apart from anything you're probably playing right now. Given its 2015 Adobe Flash origin, you can forgive it for its dated UI, but its strange installation process and pay structure make the experience more frustrating than enjoyable. But hey, at least you have the anime adaptation. Noisy Pixel is giving Touken Ranbu Online a 6.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.